we will share our opinions on AI DMs, the Tuesday night multi-table campaign, and a new format for the Weekly Word. But first, Saturday Night Live skit inspires D&D selfies and a range of other emotions on Twitter. By the way, if by any chance you're hearing this twice, excuse us, because it wasn't streaming 5 minutes ago, so we're redoing the whole thing. Apparently, a recent Saturday Night Live skit depicted D&D players as a stereotypical pocket protector nerds. In article's words, not mine. Twitter user Nick Host, again, I apologize if I mispronounced that this time or 5 minutes ago, responded with a tweet of her own using hashtag D&D selfie. And the community posted a stream of selfies of selfies and dice pictures showing that D&D players are not stereotypical nerds. Now I understand and support the responses, but would the skit have been as funny if the D&D players were not portrayed as nerds?
There's a problem with our audio, as per the comments.
Okay. Do we know what's wrong with the audio?
Robot voice going on.
Interesting. All right.
Have we muted all of the mics except for the table mic?
Yeah.
Robot mic in the sense of like it's just coming off as distorted, or
To our audience watching, can you be a little bit more specific with what problems we're having with our audio?
Well, the health seems good.
I can just check out the stream in another room. We can test it.
We got people out there.
We were still talking about robotic things, just while it sounded.
Sound is the bane of our existence.
It is.
How is it now? Sound any better? Oh, wait a minute. You know what? We can keep going.
Okay.
What do you think? You figure out what it is?
No bandwidth, I think, very choppy. Maybe have someone there in the store watch it so you can hear the issue. All right, John, why don't you go listen to it and hear the issue?
Off camera.
I will. I can't do it here. I can do it here.
Well, then why don't we take a moment, we'll pause the stream, and then we can try cycling the router. You want to try that? Would that help?
Yeah, we're going to transition out. Give us 5 minutes and we'll be right back. So we're back live. We're going to we're going to test the sound. The only way to really test the sound is do it live.
Yeah.
So we're waiting for John to help us out here.
And the other ones are just like covered in blood and paint and clothes. Okay.
It's gonna give it a minute. No, not yet. We're waiting for it to buffer.
They are on the other side of the room.
Fixed. We have, and then good.
Okay. John, can you see us?
There's an exit this way. Yeah.
All right. We seem to be okay.
Fabulous. Thank you, everyone out there watching. We definitely appreciate any help that you give us. It is, as you know, up to date, up to the moment, so we can pause it and try and fix problems.
We said
as they
somebody's
occur.
not better. We're talking now.
Dana, are you talking about that? Because that's old.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Good. Good. All right.
Yay. Thank you.
Oh, okay. My chat's disconnected, so
Yeah.
we're gonna have to go with your chat. All right. So let's try this a third time.
Where did we leave off this time?
Okay. This time
How about this?
I did
Hi,
take off
welcome
my
to the week-
pants. We're not doing the whole thing over again.
You don't
Right?
have to.
All right.
You didn't
We're
do
at
it the first
all
time
right, so,
around.
all right. We'll go through this. The short version.
Yeah.
The weekly word. John, Rich, Morgan. 4/11/19.
I'm still not wearing pants.
Whatever. Moving on.
So I'm not going to tell you what we're talking about tonight. You're going to find out in a few minutes anyway, so we're going to skip
Yeah.
over that. We're talking about the Saturday Night Live skit
Yeah.
where that inspired a stream of selfies and D&D selfies and dice pictures, where I found the OKSDM mug,
Yes.
which is now on my Amazon wish list.
Yeah.
Hint. Hint.
All right. Okay. When's your birthday?
Birthday.
Yeah. We need
October.
reason.
Well, I DM'd for like 8 months and I didn't get a mug. You're just gonna like just because you talk every week?
What are you talking about? I DM'd the live stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
yes.
for like twice.
and on Monday,
I can put the
as you will see.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jeez, oh my God.
Wait a second, let's go back. Are you
So-
upset I didn't get you a mug?
What?
When's your birthday?
December.
Oh.
I just like things.
Oh, he DM'd for me like for
I
9
think-
months before
Hold
for
on.
your
I
birthday.
think John's just mad that you didn't mug him, is what he's trying to
Oh,
say. Okay, so now, please,
Yes.
give me your opinions on the Saturday Night Live
Okay.
skit again. We're going to try this again.
Yeah. So my take, I don't think that kind of stereotype necessarily helps the community, but also it doesn't hurt the community. I think we all know that that stereotype exists. We've lived with that stereotype for a long time, so
I just think it's outdated.
perpetuating it isn't necessarily harming us. I just don't think that it's fresh in terms of a funny idea for an SNL skit.
So, as I had said earlier,
Yeah.
I actually didn't take a D&D selfie because I was one of the pocket protector nerds, except
Yeah.
I couldn't afford a pocket protector.
Yeah.
So I didn't actually take the picture.
I mean, I
Right.
think of myself as like a pocket protector nerd, but
You don't have to think. It's true.
I mean, that's kind of a compliment. I don't know.
So-
I didn't have any problem with it. I just didn't think that the skit was that funny.
I mean, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
It's like, it's one thing to make fun of D&D in a really clever and funny way, and I've seen plenty of good D&D, like, DM skits.
Right.
That was just, all right, we made the most obvious of jokes. It's 2019. D&D
Exactly.
is arguably more popular than it's ever been before, and we're still cracking jokes that would have been outdated in 1986.
Yeah.
So I'll say that I like that this actually had two things that I liked, I enjoyed that came out of this, right? One, whether or not it was funny is really relative. I didn't find it overly funny. Like you
Right.
said, there was some awkward moments in it, and it
Yeah,
was kind of
the
like
timing.
right, the timing was off, and I had mentioned this the first time we ran through. I don't know if I mentioned it the second time because I can't remember
I don't
anymore.
think we mentioned anything about it.
It seemed like the writers didn't play D&D. Or
Yeah.
at least didn't play D&D during the era, and they really didn't know how to put the cohesive joke together. But what I did like is I did like the stream of selfies. I thought it was
know.
pretty cool. I thought
Yeah.
the pictures were good. I thought the opinions. I thought the people just throwing their hat in the ring and saying, "Hey, listen, this is who I am, and I play."
Yeah. What I
This
have to
great
say I
thing.
noticed more than anything else out of the D&D selfie was how diverse the community is. Like, it was incredible just how many different types of individuals were showing their colors. You know what I mean? It was
It's
amazing.
funny in that I think people are probably more confident now to say I play Dungeons and Dragons than ever, and the skit still ran off the same ideology of like, oh, if you play Dungeons and Dragons, you're this awkward geeky
Yeah.
type. When in reality, it's like there's plenty of people from all walks of life who play
Yeah.
D&D, and I think now people are very positive about
Yeah.
it, and that's like the selfie thing. Like, no, look, I'm not ashamed to say I play. Here's my cool dice collection. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, we see that with cons. We see it with him. You know, with TV and podcasts and streaming and
Hold on.
everything.
I'm sorry. You know what? That's actually Dasmodius. You're right. It's probably one of the
No.
things that did make it funny. Yeah, I understand, but I'm going with it, right?
Yeah.
Is that they clearly didn't know what they were making fun of.
Right.
So, but anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
Tuesday night multi-table campaign. A quick recap on our Tuesday night multi-table campaign. For those that do not know, Legendary Realms Games runs a Tuesday night multi-table campaign. In case you haven't heard me say it enough, and every week we just give a quick recap on what's happening there in case you're local to the area. Obviously, not everybody out there is going to be local to
Right.
the area, but sometimes the things that come out of these guys' mouths is pretty funny. So I'm going to hand it
Yeah.
over to Morgan to go do a quick recap.
So my table has been spending a few days in Dullen. We are looking to try and find a ship to take us over to Macallan, which is where
Oh, this-
one of
is that
our
the European Union?
characters. Yes, it is. No, the MEB Union. So we're trying to find passage over to Macallan, which is one of our player characters' homelands. We're getting into lots of trouble. This has now become a theme with my group. I don't know what it is, but we can't be in towns for more than an hour without either trying to kill innocent people for no reason whatsoever.
Like how? Is it just like, hi, can you tell me how sharp this knife is?
I really
Just tell
can't.
me how
Okay,
sharp the
I
knife is?
can't explain it. It was really like a fugue moment where we had no frame of reference. There was just this innocent dwarf, and suddenly
Fire.
there was a fireball launched at this innocent dwarf.
Well, by,
doing it?
by whom?
You have a player?
By a cleric. What is she, lawful? Is she lawful, neutral cleric? I mean, it was bad. It was confusing.
The DM
It
DM
was a
needs to
mess.
rein that in.
Oh, no. It was rained. But this past week we ended up in fighting pits, which was a little bit iffy at one point. We faced 4 hill giants and then a series of gladiators, I believe. Yeah, it wasn't a good scene. We entered a place called the Bloodshed, which perhaps you would think with a name like the Bloodshed you would stay away from it, but we didn't.
Well,
We went for it. It was a mistake.
Tomb of Horrors. People run to it. Why?
That's true.
It
That's
doesn't make
true.
any sense.
But because if you have something that sounds really nice, obviously it's going to sound like a trap, like the Field of Infinite Puppies and Happiness. It's just
Yeah.
like, that just screams undead. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, it's just a lot of clouds and
No,
sunshine.
that's ironic undead, right?
Well, I guess, like, you get there and they're all just really nice. Like,
But when,
would you
when
here
they
for the
name
puppies?
it, like, did you just like, oh, that's just a bad name, and you show up and die? What did you think? I said it was the Tomb of
You're never
Horrors.
gonna find something in the middle. Like, you're never gonna find like the sphere of moderate happiness. How are you feeling? It could be better.
How about you? Are you still DMing on Tuesday nights?
When need be, I
Rumor has
might
it
be
he's
starting
not
another.
allowed.
No, shut up. I have actually.
Give me the
been-
rumors.
Well, okay. So we have been anticipating more players.
Okay.
We didn't really have that much of an influx this week, despite there being some interest. But I am going to be, if the need arrives, I will probably be DMing again. And I do have some stuff I'm conceptualizing. Just haven't kind of like moved forward with it. You know.
All right, it sounds good.
What?
Button.
Well, I look forward to it.
I look backwards
enjoy
on it.
Yeah.
I like to hear
I
everything
enjoy
out
your
there.
DMing. I do.
There's nothing wrong with John's DMing. Okay, moving on.
I get good shit when John DMs.
AI
ahead.
AI DMs.
All right, let's go. Let's try it out.
I attended an AI machine learning networking event on Wednesday night, and I thought an AI DM would be an interesting idea. Could you become a player in a group where the DM is an AI that learns about your character and evolves with the party? So think about it. There's always, like, if you have a group of friends, there's always that guy who's like, well, I don't want to DM all the time because I want to play.
Right.
Well, if you get an AI DM, then everybody could play all the time.
Yeah.
And then, if you couple it with machine learning, I mean, what do you think?
I think that you might be onto something. I'd be skeptical, but willing to participate in that kind of a game just for the experience of it. I'd probably be trying to find the flaw at every single moment,
Aha, I got you.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd probably be like how good at, not necessarily improvising, but how good at, let's say, humanizing the players. And what I mean by that is like a lot, so there was actually a really good video I saw the other day where somebody said, people say that Dungeons and Dragons is a storytelling game.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's not really the DM telling a story. It's the DM nurturing the players' stories with their own twist on it. In the sense of, like, the DM might come up with, like, the setting and certain encounters and even kind of naturally, like, kind of roll certain things out. But the way that the game in and of itself is designed is that the players are really fueling things.
Sure.
Like if you say, okay, there's this giant castle where the princess is stored inside. It's like, yeah, you can decide, well, we're not going to go in there, but realistically, everyone's going to do it. But it's more a matter of like,
You're going in.
why are you doing? Well, no, but it's like, why are you doing it? Like, what do you stay in the game?
So-
are you just looking for fortune? Are you looking for?
I think what
acrimony?
you're right. I think you're in my opinion, I think you're partially right. And here's why. So I do believe, and actually I saw Matt Mercer posted on it today. It is a story for the GM, but it is also a story for the GM to also encompass what the players
Right.
are actually, what the players have for their characters and what they think.
Right.
Somebody posted, and oh my God, excuse me for not writing this down. I really should have wrote it down.
Yeah.
But someone had posted that when you near the end of your campaign, right? Before you end it, you should ask each of the players what they thought what is still left unaccomplished for their players. Because maybe your campaign shouldn't end until the players are satisfied
Yeah.
also. So that goes to what you're saying, but in no way do you take the storytelling. It is storytelling from a sense, but it is a storytelling where the DM sets the background, the theme, and the plots. The characters weave the threads through that plot.
Yeah.
And yes, it changes. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you can't get stuck and say and railroad them one way or the other. I agree with that.
You can provide guidelines, but it's still the great thing about the game and what makes D&D so dynamic. And the question is whether AI is ever going to get to that point. It might. I'm not saying it's impossible. Right now,
think
I'm
it
not
could.
sure. But the question is, can an AI...
I think voice needs to be smoother.
Well, it's not even that.
But yes.
Forget it. Can an AI nurture somebody on a creative level that they'd be unable to tell the difference between a human and, let's say, a computer-generated thing? Because let's look at a great example, Rafia. Rafia's journey from when she first started playing in MEB to where she is currently. It's gone through all kinds of things.
Oh, yeah.
You started, from your backstory of, like, losing your entire village to now being in a scenario where it's kind of back, but not really, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But along the way, like, you went through all kinds of crazy stuff. Working with the other teams, like when you guys were first building Tamnar and kind of growing that city and how things kind of evolved from there, going on the different journeys and adventures to kind of flesh stuff out. Do you think that if let's say the DM or the game itself didn't give you the creative options to really kind of flesh out your character, that you would have enjoyed it as much?
I'm going to go back to a point that you started making. I actually think that an AI DM could actually do a better job of picking up on subtle changes in a character and bringing that out more, making that change happen in game, as opposed to being focused on the class structure of the character that you're playing versus what your character first was intended to be. I think a human being DM could get very focused on certain aspects and not pick up on changes that are occurring perhaps subtly or more obviously, but as you go.
I would say that depends on the DM, because like when I DM, I don't look at characters as their class. It's not. It's just like, that's Rafia, that's Zedel, this is Alurum, and it's a matter of like, Alurum's a fighter, but like he seems to be a very charismatic natural leader.
Right, but how often do you take like like downtime and your
Oh, I used to
and
do it
your
all the time.
No, I know
well,
that,
me
but,
personally.
but like how often do you take like all your other like all the other items and the ideals and the flaws and put them into your adventure as opposed to just encounters for the character itself?
Yeah.
Well, no, it's. I think it's entirely possible. Like,
So it is, but
well, it's like
I
this.
agree, but
well,
for now,
let me
but-
make one. Well, let me make one point. Like, so, like, I had a character who played as a cleric who didn't necessarily align themselves with any specific deity, and just by the simple fact of giving them a magic item, which was cursed, that I weaved into their story, which actually spilled over to affecting other characters because they got roped up in this cleric's mess of like, oh, I have this cursed weapon that I don't want to stop using. And it's like, okay, that's fine. Now this person knows that, like, you do something weird because of this cursed item. Oh, hey, now this other person found out that something weird's going on, and it just grows.
all right.
Like,
No, it's good. We're gonna have to move on from that topic.
Okay.
But I understand what you're getting
I guess
at.
the biggest thing is that, like, we haven't seen anything try it. Like, until, like, we've actually seen an AI try to run a game and see what it's capable of,
All right,
that's
so
a real test.
IBM, if you're watching, and if you're not watching, you should be watching. But IBM, get Watson
right?
on it.
Yeah, Watson.
All right.
I think that's the end of the story, though. Is
Oh my God, how
would
great would it be if
we play with an AIDM? My
What if-
answer would be yes.
I would absolutely.
What if Watson ran a game of Paranoia? You always trust friend computer, or if not, you're a dirty mutant commie.
All right, moving on. Awarding XP for non-encounters. So another thread that I came upon today is somebody had asked the question: characters avoid an encounter. How much XP should they get? So here's the situation: a DM had planned a bandit to plan an ambush. However, the characters decided they will not walk on the road. Instead, they take to the woods to avoid this very situation. The ambush obviously does not happen due to the thinking of the characters. How much XP should they get?
I mean, I'll just jump in. I don't want to be talking the whole time. But like, okay,
Go ahead, you can start
It's
it
not
off.
like we were going to be able to stop you.
that's why I'll punch you in the face. That's why I like milestone DMing
Violence.
because it's
I
a
didn't know
matter
this
of
was going
like
to have violence.
it's not a matter of encounter. Well, like, so old school D&D, because you ran it a few times for me and a few friends or whatever, was old school D&D was all about like treasure and loot and stuff like that. That was tied to XP, correct?
Yeah.
Like a gold was worth a single XP or whatever.
Correct.
Later editions added alternative options and things like that, but it was always a matter of like the monsters said this is how much XP this thing is worth. But I like the idea of milestones because it's like it's more along the lines of like where have your characters grown and what have you experienced.
Right.
Like you said, like okay, I'll give you a great example. I was running a game, like a jump-in game that I did, and one of the encounters was there's a ghost on the side of the road whose parents were like they were grave robbed. Like these robbers stole from the parents' graves, and the parents came back as angry ghosts and whatever. And the whole encounter was going to be like, oh, they have to fight the evil ghosts or whatever. But they actually did a lot of really clever stuff. So I still gave them all the rewards in the encounter because they approached it realistically. They thought about it rationally. They didn't just go blindly into combat. They used their skills to diffuse the situation. Like the rogue still pickpocketed the guy who stole the stuff, so they got the heirlooms back. The monk snuck up from behind and using his acrobatics, like incapacitated the guy without killing him. The cleric casted a ritual or a spell to
I get it. And details. But you wound up getting the experience points for the encounter, but they went about it a different way.
The encounter experience for the counter shouldn't be do you get experience for the fight, it's do you get experience for handling the encounter.
But there's a difference here, right? There's a certain amount of experience associated with killing a monster, and it's there. You can't avoid it. It's there. That's what that is,
Yeah.
right? So the question isn't whether or not that there's encounter experience, which may be separate, right? So an encounter itself may be worth 50 experience points, and you may bump that up if they don't actually kill them, but do they get the same amount of experience points as if they killed them? Because this is a planned combat encounter.
Right.
This isn't a planned interaction encounter, which is different, and I get that.
Well, my take on that is that I don't necessarily appreciate as a player when my DM plans combat encounters. Because if I'm playing a non-combative character, I don't want to be held back from gaining experience because I'm not initiating combat. Like, I think if it's in line with the character, and their actions, I don't see why you should hold XP back from playing as their character.
So I just like to point out the name of the game is actually Dungeons and Dragons,
Okay.
right?
Right.
Which is
We're talking
which is-
about a bandit encounter, which is not happening in a dungeon, and it's
And it's
not.
not, are the
with
bandits, are the
dragons.
bandits
So,
dragons?
I'm going to
Are
continue
the
talking about
Rich,
this
Rich,
situation
are the
here.
bandits dragons?
They could be. They could be from a
It-
dragon cult.
Or a
But anyway-
dragon that has like the... Well, no,
My
but the
take
point
is this:
is-
is that the game is made up of, yes, combat, but it's also made of exploration and social interaction.
Yes.
And if the point is that you're making right now is to avoid social interaction by going through the woods, I think you should be getting XP for that.
And by all means, any DM can make their decision one way or another. And I
Yeah.
don't think I'd have an argument against that. But I don't think you can also go after a DM by saying, you know, they planned a combat encounter for me, and I made a character that's specifically not going to do any combat.
But it's not a matter of not saying you're not going to do any combat. It's just a matter of like, my character is not going to actively seek out combat. What if you had somebody where the bandits show up and they're like, okay, hi bandits, why are you doing this? Like, what's
Yeah, but-
motivating? Like, look, I understand you have our
bandits-
stuff,
yeah,
so like, let's talk. How about this?
No,
We're actually
but
looking...
bandits ambush, right? The scenario is there was a planned ambush, right?
Bandits
For whatever-
ambush because of poor life choices and unfortunate circumstances.
No, that's why they become bandits.
Well,
They
yes,
ambush
that's-
to get more loot.
So it's like, okay, look, how about this? We will pay you
Semantics.
to escort
Give me
us.
your semantics.
We'll pay you to escort us down the rest of this road because obviously there might be more bandits and maybe you know them and maybe like you know. So how about this? We will hire you as an entourage. You will still get a decent amount of loot, and instead
Okay.
we won't all just set you ablaze.
So the
My
point-
take is they get as much XP as the DM feels like they should earn based on their actions.
I think that's
If
fair.
they're metagaming, oh, this seems sneaky, we should be in the woods, despite not having any real reason to
What if the
take the woods route, then don't
what if-
give
what
them
if-
XP
what-
for
what-
that.
So here's my take on it, right? Before we start getting into silly questions, and we only have a couple seconds left in
Yeah.
this. Here's my what I would have done, right?
yeah.
Is if they had taken the woods, I would have given them experience for being smart enough to go.
Yeah.
There may be an ambush,
Right.
I would have given them some experience. I also would have changed the encounter instead of the bandits ambushing the characters. The characters can come across their
Yeah,
ambush
yes.
and have a chance to.
Yes,
They could enter combat
absolutely.
themselves or avoid it completely.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah, no, I think the idea of being stuck on the combat encounter that was planned is foolish.
Yeah, I agree.
You should be able to
Just do whatever you need to do.
to take into consideration what the actions of the characters were and adjust what your plan is accordingly.
I mean, if you really want to be clever about it, just make it with the woods.
but I was
Well, just do
absolutely
this.
thinking that.
How about this?
Is that they should be encountering these bandits laying in wait.
How about
Yeah.
this?
Absolutely.
The woods are full of treants, and the bandits are actually trying to warn people on the road. Like, don't go through the woods. Like, there's treants.
That's adorable.
So,
We're here to hire. We're offering up protective services.
okay, so we're done.
That's why they all have
Moving on
axes.
from the
It makes
discussion.
perfect sense.
Now we move on to the
They're
next
not actually
section
bandits. They're loggers.
is what we are.
Yeah.
So what we are reading. I just finished book 1 of Steel Remains by Richard K. Morgan. I found it actually quite interesting, and it was the first fantasy book where I guess it was the first fantasy book that I encountered where the hero, the main character that they were writing about, was gay. It's just from a fantasy standpoint, and I thought
Yeah.
the fantasy book was great.
That's awesome.
It was great character development. For
What's the
him.
book?
Steel Remains, book 1.
Okay.
So, and he's evolving into something else. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Mysterious.
Yeah, so looks.
Me, I haven't yet started Speaker for the Dead. Oops. But if I get any time this weekend, which I don't anticipate getting, I'll start it.
What are you
How about
reading?
you?
I don't really read.
Good.
I don't. I mean, like, it's not that.
Do you know how to read?
Man.
Yes, I know how to read. My problem is that like.
Prove it. Read a book.
Like when? My issue is that free time is difficult. I don't even have time to like watch things. Like I've been just mostly playing video games.
As soon as he's done here, we're not there yet.
shut
That's
up.
next thing. But as soon as we're done here, he's gonna go listen to a podcast.
Yes.
You should listen to his books.
Because podcasts can do other things. You
Yeah.
can listen to
So,
podcasts.
what are we
while-
watching?
Oh, what am I watching? Well, just before I got here, on time I might add, I watched the first episode of Hannah.
I thought that said Larry Bird.
Oh, is that animated?
Not
Larry
Lady
Bird.
Bird. You have
Oh,
is that
Lady
the-
Bird. I thought it said Larry
Is
Bird.
that
Yeah, I've
animated?
been swooning over him.
Is that animated thing on Hulu?
No, Hannah, no. Hannah is, if you remember, a few years back, there was a movie
an
made
actual movie.
about,
Right,
yeah,
right.
yes.
Like a spy thriller or something like that, or?
Yeah. So Amazon picked it up, and I'm watching it on Amazon now.
Okay.
Watched the first episode. It was more charming than I expected it to be. So I'm happy. We'll see where it goes. It was a lot of setup. Really, this whole episode was just set up, but I enjoyed it. Did you watch it?
No, I did.
No?
I actually, it's not. It is somewhere on my list to
Yeah.
watch. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah.
I've been watching Top Chef again, going back through some of the
Yeah.
some of the older seasons. They've been pretty fun. And then been watching Pioneer Woman. I'm not afraid to say it.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, I
love
love
her.
her.
She's
But
awesome.
she's too nice. She's suspiciously nice. She is like the innkeeper that you're not sure you trust. Like,
It's very funny because I
No,
could
there's
think
something
of
wrong
her
with
like
her.
Offset being so angry and mean.
Yes.
But I don't care because I love her recipes and I've made several
yeah.
of them.
Yeah, she's like captivating when you watch her.
Absolutely, she's awesome.
Yeah.
What are you watching?
I got into a new series on YouTube. It's also on other streaming services as well. But I started watching Fantasy High, which is it's a live action role playing game from the College Humor team. It's on one of the streaming services called Dropout, I believe. And it's essentially a D&D game set in like a fantasy 1950s America where like they're all high school students. It's like The Breakfast Club if there was tieflings.
Okay.
It's really funny. Like,
Which one of them would be a
guys-
tiefling?
What?
Which one of the Breakfast Club would be a tiefling?
It's like the rebel goth chick who's just like
Okay, I can
because
see
she
that.
doesn't know who her dad is, and she's like smoking all the time, and like purposely trying to get into trouble because he's trying to get expelled from school.
Are you talking about the weirdo, like the?
Yeah,
the
at first he
quirky
started
one?
out that way, and
Yeah.
then he started adding a whole bunch of things that
Yeah,
made no sense.
I'm talking about the
You're
character on the
confusing it with
show.
the guy.
No,
There's
I
the
said
male,
which one
the
of the-
male Breakfast Club guy.
I
He
said
was
which
the
one of
loner.
which one of the Breakfast
Tough
Club
guy.
would be the tiefling?
And again, like the weird goth one, I suppose. Like
Well,
I'm there
there's,
the.
there's,
Oh, weird guy.
Okay, all right.
Well, there's the
I know
chick.
you
Well,
did that.
well, there's the girl.
Do you
who,
think
like,
it's the chick or is it the guy?
It's very interesting. I
think
actually
it's
think
the
it's a guy.
Yeah, totally
Right?
a guy.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but we both know which guy we're talking about.
I just never liked the Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
So.
Seriously.
What else? I watched Lady Bird. Lady Bird was amazing. I had a sleepover with my sister. We got some chicken nugs, lived a little bit of that amazing nug life, and watched Lady Bird together. It was great. It was a great night. And then I watched Annihilation. Have you seen that?
It's been recommended.
Natalie Portman.
It's been very much recommended. I have
Ooh.
not seen it.
Oh, that was.
You were talking about it on Tuesday, right?
Yeah, it was intense. It was really intense.
His name is John Bender.
John Bender.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
And Ali Sheedy.
Oh, yeah,
Not
well,
her though. Not her. Him.
Yes.
He was.
Judd Nelson.
He would definitely be the tiefling for
Mr.
sure.
Nelson. Okay. And what are we listening to? What are you listening to?
Podcast.
Podcast.
I was listening to podcast. Well, I mean, like music-wise, I haven't really like gotten into any new music in a while. Just because like when I'm driving, like I mostly just listen to the same stuff, but I do listen to
Yes.
new shows. I've been listening to
That delay.
But I'm trying to think if there's any new podcasts I picked up, and nothing that really jumps to mind. But just a couple of really solid ones. We Hate Movies, Talking Simpsons is a favorite of mine. A couple of other gaming podcasts and stuff like that. But you know, nothing.
What are you listening to?
I'm listening to a lot of the Black Keys in anticipation of the concert I'm going to in October with Modest Mouse. I'm so excited. I've been looking forward to this for a long time.
No, I'm shaking my head because it's the second time in this section that
Yeah.
I've misread what you wrote.
What did you think I said this time?
The Black Eyed Peas.
No. Yeah.
I
Man.
don't understand.
I don't know. I don't understand either. Who do you think I am? I like that's
Nobody
what's
knows.
fascinating.
Nobody
I
knows.
went to a really awesome Modest Mouse concert at Jones Beach.
Oh,
the set
man.
got interrupted because lightning struck the place.
Oh wow.
It was.
There's a reason for
I
that.
forget what the opening band. It was some opening band, Modest
kidding.
Mouse and REM. And,
That's
and,
awesome.
like lightning hit just as Modest Mouse was finishing their
Wow.
set. So I got to see all of Modest Mouse, but we left before REM went on because
Wow.
it just was just downpouring. It was like
You need to
we're
find a
not gonna-
better spot for that cup. It's driving me nuts. I'm like, he's gonna start hitting that.
Well, it's gonna spill into the mic.
All right.
Now it's gonna spill on the
Nice.
floor,
Yeah.
and now we get ants.
That's
So
no sugar in
I'm
it.
very excited about that concert. I'm also listening to a lot of Glass Animals. Oof, they're moody, bluesy. It's so good. So
Cool.
good.
Finish what you said.
Finish what I
About
said.
what?
Moody, bluesy, sexy,
Sexy
rock.
rock. Yes, it is.
I was
It
waiting
really
for you to say
is.
it. I wanted
Oh.
that to come out of your mouth.
Sexy Rock is
I
like what,
said
just
it.
rocks with a lot of curves. Like,
Oh no, it's so
there's
good.
a lot of boulders.
You gotta listen to it. Listen to Zaba and let me know what you think. It's an album. Check it out.
All right, now for our plugs.
Yeah.
The Short Rest Chronicles is preparing to air a new episode on Monday night with a
Okay.
new microphone. Hopefully we're going to get that right.
Oh, I'm
Sound
excited about
is
that.
definitely the bane
Yeah.
of our existence. Let's see if that helps the audio issues we've been having. We also try to record simultaneously just in case. Al May is chronicling the story, and these chronicles will be published to our Patreon account. So support us and become a patron today.
Oh, my turn now?
Yeah, because I flipped them.
I saw that. Patreon is growing, and you can be a part of that. There are 3 videos right now that have been released for our patrons only and are expected to be released in the near future. What are you talking about?
More will be.
More
Yeah.
will be released.
Improvise. Come
Yeah,
on.
all right.
Don't just read
I'm
the
talking
script.
to you. That's my improvisation. All right. Anyway, so on top of that, the Short Rest Chronicles campaign will be released in pieces for patrons only, including maps, adventures, and write-ups. The $5 tier will give you access to all of this content.
Please support our friends over at the TSR Gaming blog. And
Game Master Games, Dave Vanderwerf and his weekly Facebook Live events.
yes. So before we jump into our quick notes, which really closes out the closes out the series, I'd like to talk about the changing format of
Yeah.
the Weekly Word. Upcoming, we're going to be putting a skin over it, so it will look a little bit better. But we're also going to turn this fully into an opinions piece.
Yeah.
So we'll be looking for. We're going to be looking for articles and talk about what's actually going on in the gaming community. You have ideas, anything that's trending, we're going to try to talk about. So by all means, if there's a topic you want us to cover and you want to hear our opinion about it, by all means, email us or put it in the comments or however you want to contact us.
Yeah.
There's a dozen ways of contacting us. And we'll...
First opinion, bandits, misunderstood or just nuisances?
I'm fine with that, right? You'll see it as a
my
topic.
God, John.
So that's what we're going to be. That's where we're going to be
Show me
going.
one group of bandits that robs for fun. Like, just like anybody, like, no, we do it because we're bored. Like, no, like,
I actually read a series of books where the bandits actually did it because they wanted to have fun. They didn't even need the loot.
yeah, but like, did they threaten people like in a bad way, or is it just like,
I know they would kill people.
that's bad?
They're bandits.
Yeah.
They just didn't need the loot. They did it for fun. Anyway, so that's the new format of the Weekly Word. So keep checking back and see how it.
Yeah, let
how
us
it
know what
starts
you
flowing.
think.
We maybe add another camera so that way our guests can actually sit on their own camera and not in my lap. John, put your leg down.
No.
And with that, we're going to go with our quick notes.
Yes.
Legendary Realms Games is hosting Friday Night Magic Draft this Friday. $15 entry, pack per win, with a friendly crowd. John, Morgan, are you guys going?
Nope.
I will not be here this Friday. Just because I have some stuff going on outside the store for a change. I'm usually here Friday nights, but this weekend I'm
Yeah,
not.
awesome.
Which means I can come.
Yay.
Are you going to draft?
No.
No, there you go.
No, I don't play Magic.
You don't?
No, I do not play
Have you
Magic.
ever? Did you used to?
Maybe. No, not
I actually
really.
might play Magic. It just won't be here.
You know, so we have a question from our comments, just to go back before we finish up the quick notes. How would bandits threaten in a good way?
I would like to think it was like just really clever use of traps and like weaponry of just like it's the illusion of a threat of just like, oh, we're gonna take all your stuff, and then before you realize like I'm thinking like Looney Tunes. I'm like, okay, like they have like there's a lot of them in groups, and they have like really
I don't like where this is going.
Okay, think of it this way: there's a large number of bandits, and they all have like spears and swords and all this stuff. Like, oh, we're gonna take all your stuff. Like, you better give us all your things. Okay, like put everything inside this sack, and like you start loading stuff up. Well, you don't just just an abundance of nets. That's all you need. It just just wait till somebody comes by and just throw enough nets that they're just encumbered, and they're like, oh, we're just gonna casually take stuff from
It still
you.
sounds scary. Let's move on.
It's so scary. It's a net. It's not like a net with
I don't know
spikes
who a
in it.
net
You
is.
just throw nets
move
on
on.
people, and then like eventually it's like, all right, you'll get yourself loose after a while.
Pick it up.
Yes, we're also hosting Blood Bowl, Empire Cup 5 this Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Go to Legendary Realms Games Facebook page for more details. I've never played, but I heard last year's event was fun.
Also, it was fair. It was fun actually because I got to see how the terrain was. They actually had someone come in and make the
That's
terrain.
cool.
So it was pretty good. Also on Saturday, starting at 7 p.m., Hearthstone will be at Legendary Realms Games.
Cool.
Our guest Jonathan is hosting Switch It Up Saturdays at Legendary Realms Games starting at 7:30. Do you have any focus this week?
I still have yet to find a group of people coordinated enough to play Overcooked well.
What are you talking about? I rock it Overcooked. Actually, I've been playing Overcooked with Dana, and oh my God, we have 3 stars on every. On every.
Spoiler alert, I don't know what Overcooked is.
Overcooked is so it's like you're all like a team of chefs
It's a
trying to
fun
cook
game
together.
that's very frustrating.
Okay.
You need to see it in action. It is
Yeah.
really,
Yes.
is really good though.
Yeah.
But
It's
a lot of
Overcooked
fun.
is definitely fun. There's always new stuff coming out on the Switch every week, so I'm always looking out for like new titles. So yeah.
I think we're on level 6.4
Okay.
with all 3 stars or something like that. I can't remember. Anyway,
Also on Saturday, a new Pre-Gaming with Morgan is going to be posted, so check that out.
she hopes.
What's the game?
It will be. If it's not you editing it, it's going to be
What's
Alex.
the game?
Catan.
Ooh.
Yes, base game. Here we go. taking it
Catan's
back.
actually coming to the Switch soon.
Is
They're
it?
releasing it in June,
Wow,
which is cool.
that's cool.
I actually.
There's a lot of board games coming out to the Switch,
Yeah.
which is awesome. Like Carcassonne came out.
Great. Mondays at Legendary Realms includes War Machine
so-
Free Play
you're the
and
worst.
Magic the Gathering Open Commander Play.
Yeah.
Rumor has it Morgan has not shown up to learn how to play War Machine.
I have it on me. I can let you borrow it.
I will. I swear one of these weeks, I will say that I learned how to play War Machine.
All right.
On Tuesday, we're holding, as we discussed early, the multi-table D&D game. Entry is $5. However, it is included in the 4 event per month
The D&D
Patreon
yes.
tier. So, yeah, if you're one of our patrons, you can join us, and you don't have to pay that
These are not quick at
$5
all.
walk-in tier.
Wednesdays, as always, is Adventure League Day at Legendary Realms Games.
Yes.
And we've already talked about the new pre-gaming with Morgan because she didn't think I was going to have it here in my quick notes.
Nope.
But I did.
It was
So-
recorded.
So, Legendary Realms Terrain is actively working on building Ice Cavern terrain to add permanently to its terrain line.
That's great.
Legendary Realms Terrain, I'm going to skip you
Go
because
ahead,
you
go
just
for
jumped
it.
in.
Yeah.
Legendary Realms Terrain is preparing for upcoming conventions including DexCon, Gen Con, and Long Island Retro Gaming Con. More details to follow as they become available. The wrap-up.
The wrap up. We've made it. It is the end. As always, you can follow us on our social media accounts. Twitter at LR Terrain, Instagram at Legendary Realms Games, or you can become a patron by checking us out at LR Games.
You should become a patron.
You should.
Even at $5, you'll get everything that we post there for free.
It's pretty great.
I am Rich Parlo.
I'm Morgan West.
And I'm John Cardella.
Thank you for joining us today.
See ya.
I heard you got Reynolds back on the force.
Anybody want to say anything before I stop the stream?
Pancakes.
Nug life.
Jimmy had a little bit of a
I like it. I'm going to put my pants back on.
he cracked under the